Good evening, everyone. Thank you so much for your time today in joining this webinar. I hope I'm loud and clear. My name is Trishal Rao, and I'm the General Manager India of Phoenix Business Advisory. I know a lot of you have taken your time today on a Saturday evening. Some of you have joined in all the way from Melbourne in Australia, Sydney, Australia, and all parts of India today. So I really thank you and thank you so much for coming in and joining in for this webinar today. Just to give you a small brief of what we are going to cover today, we are going to talk a little bit about Phoenix and what we do and how we can make it so easy to help you move to Australia. We are going to talk to you about why Australia, लोग ऑस्ट्रेलिया क्यों जाना चाहते हैं, व्हाट इज ऑस्ट्रेलिया में क्या खूबियां हैं जाने के लिए बिजनेस माइग्रेशन के लिए, why people want to go to Australia as well. We are going to cover the various subclasses where my Sydney team is going to take you through the various subclasses in Australia and what currently what business migration subclasses and terms are required as well. And most of all, don't go away. Right at the end, we are also going to share with you a new announcement that has been made by the migration authorities just a couple of days ago. So you guys are the first ones to get this information from us today, from Phoenix as well. And we are going to take you through what are the changes expected in 2021 and how you can avoid those changes as well and how we can help you avoid those changes as well. This total webinar will be for around close to 40 to 45 minutes, and post that we'll have a quick question answer session as well. In case of any queries during the webinar or any queries during any of the slides being played, you see a small little Q&A section on the top or bottom of your screen. Please feed in your comments, please feed in your feedback, please feed in your questions as well. My teams will be taking them down during this session. And at the end of the webinar, we will try and answer most of them, but please don't be disappointed. In case your question is not answered, my teams will personally reach out to you next week to also get back to you on some of the questions that you would have asked as well. So welcome today on Saturday for this webinar. Taking you through this is Trishal Rao from Phoenix Business Advisory. So most of us don't know that India has more than 2 million business owners, who are eligible for business PR in Australia. आज इंडिया में करीबन 2 मिलियन बिजनेस ओनर्स है या 20 लाख से ज्यादा बिजनेस ओनर्स है जो पीआर के लिए एलिजिबल है. But most of us are not even aware, or most of these business owners or entrepreneurs are not even aware that they are eligible. And that's, where Phoenix comes in. That's where we try and create this awareness, and that's where we try and show you how easy it is to move from India to Australia with your business and expand your business or continue your business over there in Australia as well. So we are a very professionally run company here at Phoenix. Our main ethos and focus today in the company is trust and value. Most of the clients you speak to or who have worked with us in the past or who are still working with us right now are actually coming to us because of the trust factor. And we actually hold them hand in hand and go through that entire journey and show them how we create value for them while they are going through this journey from India to Australia as well. We have a very, very, very expert professionals that are working with us in Phoenix, in India, and in Australia as well. A lot of focus is given on training as well. The good part is a lot of our leadership team members, including myself, we've all lived in Australia for some time. A lot of our team members have visited Australia many times. So most of the feedback that we give you and most, of the discussions that we have with you is based on reality because we've also been there, we've also experienced it ourselves, and we can actually directly relate to it as well. So it's not, something that we are taking out of a sales pitch or a magazine and trying to get back to you, but it is all direct feedback that we are giving to you based on our experiences as well. So we focus on mainly on people, process, and technology, and we try and see how we can bridge that gap for you to get from India to Australia at the earliest while following those proper processes as well. So just wanted to share a very small video that covers a brief synopsis of whatever we just spoke right now.
Make your money work for you. Make your money make your life better. Expand your investment portfolio to Australia. But you need an expert advice and people with technology to get it right. It's time to bridge the gap from where you are to where you want to be. Make the jump because we got your back. Our expert team has the knowledge and ability to get you returns from 30 to 300%. Our customer services that never quits. We provide 360-degree business solutions for your business to succeed and take away all your challenges. This is the next generation of business advisory, which is only designed to make your business grow in Australia. What makes us great is what makes you great. We are Phoenix Business Advisory. Think Australia. Think Phoenix.
That was a great video. I think it covered most of the points which I was also trying to relate, to you as well. Happy to share this, with you as well. So about Phoenix Business Advisory, we are mainly into business advisory solution as well. Our global corporate headquarters is in Sydney, Australia, and in India, we also have offices in Ahmedabad, Delhi, Mumbai, like you see on your screen, Surat, which is also opening in January. We have a setup in Pune, Bangalore, and also in Dubai as well. So to give you a small brief about our current business, unlike any other businesses as well, we are of course into business migration, where we offer clients options for Australian PR as well. So we work very, very closely with the recipients from the trade and investment departments as well, and the various governments where they have in-house teams. We have our in-house teams also of accountants, migration experts that actually help you and give you the right and correct information and solutions to get there as well. So that is also one of our core business. One of our core business is also into business advisory. So the journey does not end as soon as you land in Australia over there and our work is over, but the journey actually also continues with us and hand in hand, because while you go through the subclasses, you'll see that there is certain investments that is required in Australia. And 99% of the people who land in Australia need that professional advice. They need that advice from somebody who they can trust as well. And that's where our business advisory team gets activated, and we help you in sourcing the appropriate business of whatever the client wishes to acquire or implement, or if he's looking at a business expansion, or he's looking at tax structures, company registrations, licenses, trademarks, HR, payrolls, the works. So our team helps you with all those services, once you start your business in Australia. We also have a property advisory team. So you will see through some of the subclasses that there is a minimum amount that you need to invest in property as well. And in our property advisory team, we also offer you entire end-to-end solutions from acquisition to management services of that property as well. So this is how Phoenix comes in as a complete end-to-end service provider for you as well. Some of our affiliates, we have the Mara number and Mara agents also with us. Our Mara agents reference registration numbers, which we have as well. We are also members of the Migration Institute of Australia, and also we have tie-ups with Expedia and NavAir. So we make all your arrangements through this channel. We have a tie-up with them and some good discounts as well. So that's how we operate in this regard as well. Well, we've been a lot in the media lately. We've been a lot on social media, print media, some of the media articles. I'm not going through each one of them, but some of the ones we've been very proud of is the article in Forbes, where Phoenix Business Advisory was the most trusted name in H&I business migration in Australia. So that is one channel that covered us extremely. And that channel also does all their due diligence without our knowledge on our company before they produce any article on their magazine, because it's their credibility as well. So on Forbes as well, this article gives us a lot of pride. Let me quickly introduce you to our management team as well. The person you see there is Mr. MP Singh. Mr. MP Singh is the brainchild and founder of this company. He's also the CEO of the company. In fact, Mr. MP Singh recently also got the award and won the award for the Best Entrepreneur of the Year 2020 by one of the business magazine, who did a survey and review about him as well. So we are very proud to have him as the owner of the company and driving the company as per his vision as well. We also have Mr. Vishnu Kumar, who's our COO of the company. And Vishnu also comes in with a lot of experience in the space of insurance as well. We also have Nickolas Cooper, who's our global sales director of the company. He's based out of Sydney, Australia. Nickolas Cooper will take you through this presentation as well in some time. We also have Karthikeya Chauhan, who's the Vice President, Investor Relationship person. Karthikeya is also one of our key critical stakeholders based out of Sydney, Australia. And of course, brief introduction, Trishal, that's me. Like I mentioned to you, I'm the general manager for India. And we also have Anurag, who's the national sales head for India as well. So why Australia is the most preferred destination for Indian business migrants? Just a short video that will cover some of the key points for you as well. Maybe there's some technical. Yeah, that's it. Let me just skip that part. Not sure why that video is not playing, but just a brief about what was actually going to come on that video is right up there, on your screen, right now. And to be very honest, apart from some of these points which are mentioned on why Australia, to just give you a small brief on my personal experience in Australia when I lived there for about 4 years, I found Australia to be, especially some of the cities like Sydney, Melbourne, Brisbane, Adelaide, in Queensland. The people over there are very, very multicultural. You'll find people from different walks of life, different countries. It has a very large Asian population as well. So it's, very easily to track, a lot of Indians over there as well. And you get a lot of local things that you find in India, you will also find it in Australia. The personal thing that I liked in Australia was that you could drive on the right hand side, which I've not mentioned over here. Unlike most of the other countries in Europe, US, Canada, it takes you a lot of time to get used to driving, on the left hand side as well. So I still remember when I went there, it was just the second week I was in Australia and I hired a car and I could just drive on the right hand side. Very similar rules to India as well. The weather is perfect. The temperatures can go to as low as 11 to 12 or 13 degrees, and as high as about 30 to 35 degrees as well. So very perfect weather throughout the year. Beautiful beaches over there. That was something personally which I also liked. A very key point which I personally also liked, was that they have a very similar sporting culture. So somebody who likes cricket, somebody who likes football, hockey, tennis, they have very, very similar sporting culture and likes as well. So it will not take you too much time to get used to that. Once you meet a lot of Indians or Australians over there, from the Grand Prix to the tennis, the tennis, to the cricket. India is currently in Australia for the cricket as well. So these were some of the key things that I personally liked as well from, why Australia as well. But of course, some of the key points like no guns policy, where it's, a safety and security for safety and security. That's a very, very critical point, as well. And one of the fastest growing developed economies in the world today. So without any further ado, let me also introduce you to Nick to take you through this presentation from here on as well. So I'll just quickly give access to my friend Nick. Over to you, Nick. Yeah.
Hello, is my video working?
No, cannot see you, Nick. No worries, you can continue.
Okay. Hello, I'm not sure if my video is working or not.
That's all right, not a problem. You can continue.
We can try and get that working. So welcome all. Thank you for joining. My name is Nickolas Cooper. I'm based here in Sydney and I'm the sales director here at Phoenix. So what I'm going to take you through today is a few of the visas that are available, some of the requirements for those visas, the process in how we get people approved for these visas, and also what's the process in going through this with us here at Phoenix. Okay, so our first visa subclass that we're going to look at is the 188A visa. Now, essentially, the 188A visa is a visa that if you run a small to medium business in India, you've been operating that business for longer than 4 years, you are willing to move to Australia and open up a business or purchase a business in Australia and run that business here in Australia, it's a pathway for you to get permanent residency here in Australia. The basic requirements, which do change from state to state, however, the basic requirements is that your business has been running for 4 years. You have 2 years experience in managing that business. You're under the age of 55. Your business has a turnover of 500,000 Australian dollars per year, which equates to approximately 2.5 to 2.75 CR in Indian rupees. You would need business and personal assets of 800,000 Australian dollars, which equates to approximately 4 to 4.4 CR. And the total investment required would be $600,000, which also equates to approximately 3.3 INR. Now that business, that investment will be split up over business and property. And again, it depends from state to state, the different requirements that the state actually requires there. If we move on, the next visa we're going to look at is a 188B visa. Now, this visa is a little bit different in terms of you still are going to need to show that you've got experience in managing a business. You will still need to be under the age of 55 years old. There is no turnover requirement, and there's also no requirement to start or run a business in Australia. Instead, what the government requires you to do is do an investment into government or territory bonds. And in return, they will give you a pathway to permanent residency for that investment into that state. The advantages, as we said, is that there's no requirement for you to operate or manage a business if you don't want to, or it also allows you to operate or manage a business that isn't tied to your visa, which means there is a little bit more freedom and flexibility in terms of having this visa, in terms of applying for this visa. The last visa we're going to look at is the 132A visa. Now, 132A visa is different in the 188 subclass. However, it is similar to the 188A, where it will require you to come to Australia and actually run a business. However, if you have owned a larger business in India, and if you're willing to start a larger business in Australia, then this is a direct PR visa. meaning that once the visa is approved, you do not have to wait a period of 2 to 4 years to apply for permanent residency. You can actually apply for the visa actually gives you permanent residency immediately. So the basic requirements for these visas is that your business has been operating for more than 4 years. Again, being under the age of 55. The turnover requirement for this business is higher, being 3 million Australian dollars per annum. We will need to show business and personal assets, again, of approximately 3 million Australian dollars, and it will require a $1.5 million investment into Australia. Again, this is split up into business and also property. Like I said before, the benefit of this visa is that it actually gives you direct permanent residency. I'll also give you a little bit of background on why these visas exist and why Australia is offering permanent residency through the business and investment visas. So what happens each year is the federal government actually comes up with a quota, and they actually assign each state or territory a different quota based on the results that they had the previous year. Now, the federal government will set down these basic requirements, being turnover, the investment, the age of the person, and they will set down the basic requirements for that. Now, the state also is able to set other requirements on that visa, depending on what they're looking to achieve. Okay. Now, it may be that the state's looking to reduce unemployment. It may be that they're looking to increase their import-export. It may be that they're looking to increase development, infrastructure projects. It's a range of different things that the state may be looking to do. But what this allows is that the federal government will give us a overview of the visas, and now the state can actually use the visa depending on what they want to achieve in their state. Let's go on to the next slide. It's a shame my video is not working. So what's the process in having these visas done? Now, these are not like any other visa that is available from Australia. So if we look at the different visas that are normally available from Australia, we have student visas, we have work visas, we have skilled visas. The business and investment visa is actually quite different, and the process of actually applying for this visa is also quite different. Now, it all starts with an expression of interest. And effectively what an expression of interest is we prepare an outline of what your business and investment intentions are within that state. It'll also include a summary of your background, your business experience, your net assets, your family details, who's going to be included on the application, and we'll send that expression of interest off to the state. Now, the state will look at your expression of interest and check whether it aligns with their goals on what that state's trying to achieve at that time. Now, if they think that you are going to be a good fit for this program and a good fit for their state, what they will do is they will actually invite you to actually lodge a nomination application. Now, the nomination application is very similar to the expression of interest. However, this is where we actually start to provide evidence to support our application. So in the expression of interest, we may have said we have 3 years business experience, we've been running a business for 5 years, and we have 4 CR worth of asset. In the nomination application, now we have to provide the supporting evidence to show what we said in the what we said in the expression of interest, how we're going to execute it, and also back up the information that we originally said in the expression of interest. Now, once that goes through, what the state will do is they'll actually go through your whole application in a lot more detail. And if successful, they will actually nominate you. So you'll actually receive a state nomination for that particular visa. Once we receive the state nomination, that then allows us to go ahead and lodge the business and investment visa with the federal government. So we can't actually lodge the business and investment visa with the federal government until we have been nominated from a state. Now, once the business and visa, investment visa has been lodged, we're looking at a time frame of roughly 18 to 22 months before that is approved. And once it's approved, now you have permission to travel to Australia, live in Australia, operate in Australia, and run a business in Australia. One point to make here as well, if we're looking at different visas, so if we're looking at, say, for example, the US visa, and the US requires a investment into the US, that visa actually requires your investment to be put through an escrow company. And that means that is actually going into another company and actually going through investment. Unlike the Australian visa, you don't actually have to make any investment into Australia until after your visa has been approved, and also after you arrive in Australia. Now, your investment stays with you the whole time. So what happens, we have our clients travel here to Australia. We assist them to open up an Australian bank account in their name or in their company name. And then they will transfer their investment funds from India into their own Australian bank account, and their funds actually never leave their control. So that's another key point when we're comparing the Australian visas to other visas. So if we look at our general process from when a client originally gets in contact with us. So first of all, what you'll do is you will actually get in contact with one of our client engagement managers, and they will actually help you to build a profile. So the profile will include some details about yourself, about your family, about your current business. It'll also include some details about what your preferences are, where you want to go in Australia, if you have a preference to city, what sort of business that you're looking to do in Australia based on your experience, and also what's your investment capacity. They'll also help you to collect some supporting documents, and they'll send that off to us here in Sydney, and we'll complete an initial assessment on that profile, on yourself, and on your supporting documents. We'll go through the initial assessment process in a little bit more detail shortly. And effectively what we're doing there is we're looking at your profile, we're looking at your supporting documents the same way that the state would look at it when in a nomination application, but we're doing that before we actually lodge that to the state. Then from there, we will actually send you the client, the initial assessment report. Again, I'll run through what the initial assessment report includes in some time. And then either myself or Kartike or one of the team here in Sydney will actually get in contact with you and actually explain the contents of the assessment report, explain what your options are, explain where you're eligible to go. And then we'll come up with an initial investment strategy. After that's been done, then we run through the process of expression of interest, nomination, and actually lodging the Australian business visa. Once that's approved, then we actually sit down and go through a final investment strategy. And what that is if we've had an 18 to 22 month gap in between our investment strategies from the initial investment, we want to sit down and actually make sure that our initial assessment strategy is still valid and make any adjustments or changes to it that may need to be changed. From there, you come over to Australia and start the business, and you have a second home. So before I get into the initial assessment, we've added this part into the webinar because we've had a lot of people asking what's the current COVID situation here in Australia. So to give you a very quick update, we did have 2 lockdowns, one around March and one around June. And they didn't last for very long. You know, I think the longest one was roughly about 2.5 months. And we eased into it and we also eased out of it. There was a stage where the Australian states had their borders closed, so we couldn't travel interstate. However, all the borders have now opened. But one of the really good things that the government has done is they actually introduced a $213 billion stimulus package. And that was mainly geared towards helping businesses. So one of the main programs they had was a program called JobKeeper. And if your business had been affected by COVID, what the government said is instead of letting go of any of your staff, we'll actually pay you $3,000 per staff member per month, and we'll allow you to keep that staff employed until your business can get back on track if it has been affected by COVID. This is still in place and it will be in place until March 2021. And currently there's around 900, a little under 1 million businesses that have signed up for this program, and around 3.5 million workers as well. Another big thing that they've done is that they've released a small to medium enterprise guarantee scheme for businesses, where the government is allowing businesses to borrow up to $1 million, and they're actually guaranteeing 50% of that loan with the bank or with the lender to make it easier for the businesses to get some funding or get capital if it's needed throughout this COVID period. Also, there's a couple of grants that are in place that allow people to buy new homes or renovate their house at the moment, and also receive a grant from the government. In terms of business, they're allowing businesses to buy up to 150,000 Australian dollars worth of asset, and allowing this to be claimed back on your tax. They also discounted land tax if any of the landlords offered their tenants that were affected by COVID a discount in their rent. And what they've done, quite interestingly, is they're using this business and investment program as a tool to aid the COVID recovery. So to give you an idea, last year there were a little under 7,000 places that are available for people to come into the country on these business and investment visas. And this year that's actually been doubled to 13,500. But again, we do expect at the end of 2021, this to be brought back down to around the 7,000 mark when the other visas do resume. One big note here in terms of COVID is that if anybody is approved for a 188 or 132 visa, they will receive an exemption to travel to Australia if there is an international travel ban in place. So I know none of us really know what's happening with the international travel at the moment. And everyone's waiting for a vaccine, and we have no idea when the borders are going to open. However, that should not stop you if you are looking to come to Australia, start a business and live in Australia for applying for one of these visas, because if you do get approved for the visa and there's an international travel ban still in place, it doesn't matter, you will receive that exemption to travel to Australia. So that's a little bit of information. I'll leave this to last. We do have quite a few client stories and testimonials on YouTube that I think it's good to go and have a look and just get an idea of other people's process and their experience in going through this program to come to Australia on a business and investment visa. So the next step here, I'd like to talk a little bit about what the initial assessment is that I was talking about before. So like I said, an initial assessment is when we're going to get your profile that your client engagement manager is going to help you to build. We're going to look at your supporting documents, and we're going to check to see which visas that you may be available for in each state. So to give you a rough idea, even if we look at the 3 visas, we have 3 visas that are available. We have 6 states here in Australia and 2 territories, but we'll make it easy. We'll just say there's 8 states here in Australia. And then each state has the visa split up from metro, so Sydney areas, so city areas, back out to regional areas. So this gives us, quite a large number of different combinations of visas that we may be eligible for. And that's why we have to look into this in quite a lot of bit of detail. So someone can be eligible for a 188A visa in, say, for example, South Australia, Adelaide, but they won't be eligible for that same 188 visa in Sydney, New South Wales, for example. So that's why we have to do an assessment on you, so that we can tell you and so that you guys can make an informed decision. Where am I actually eligible to go? and what visa am I actually eligible for, and in what area am I actually eligible for that visa in. So what is assessed? We assess your investment capacity, your expectations, and also your supporting documents against the federal and the state government's requirements. We'll look at the family members that you want to include in the application, your business experience, your business and personal finance documents, including your turnover and your net assets. And we also assess the profile and documents, as I said, the same way that the state will look at your application before we actually lodge that application to the state. So who assesses it? We have a team here in Sydney that will do this assessment. There are 6 teams that do work on this. So first of all, it goes off to the migration team. And the migration team will do what I said before by going through and looking at your profile and your supporting documents against each one of the states and each 3 of the visas, and letting us know where we think we're going to be eligible for and what visas we're going to be eligible for. From there, the report will then go off to our business advisory team, and they'll look at your investment capacity, your preferences, and they'll cross-check that against the findings from the migration team. So, for example, if we have an investment capacity of, let's just say 5 CR, okay, and we may be eligible for a business visa in Sydney. However, if we're looking at, depending on what business we're looking to do, that business may not be able to be done in Sydney based on the investment capacity. However, it may be able to be done in Queensland or in South Australia or another place. So what the business team will look at is your investment capacity versus where you're eligible for. And they will also give us a brief idea based on the industry that you want to get into. What are the general costs to start that business, and what is the general expected return on investment in that business as well. From there, the property team will go and look at it, and they're pretty much going to do exactly the same as the business team, however, with property. So they're going to look at your preferences as to whether you would like to buy an apartment, a house, and what your investment capacity is versus the prices in different cities in Australia, and also give you a report on that. Lastly, we have our legal team, our accounting team, and our finance team. And what they're going to do is also have a look at all your documents, and they will also be able to give us a little bit of a heads up if they see anything that they think may be an issue at the stage of lodging the visa or lodging the state nomination, to give us a chance to go and have that amended or have that fixed before we actually lodge it to the government. So we've already covered this, but I will cover it again. So what we're going to get in our assessment report is it's going to be which business visa subclass that you're eligible for, which states you are eligible for, what is the investment criteria for each one of those states and each one of those visas. And it does change for every state and every region. Examples of the business investments and their return on investment, the average cost of property in each state. Also, if you have any particular questions that your client engagement manager wasn't able to answer in terms of migration, business, or property, you can actually put those questions in, and we'll put that question back to our team and have that answered for you as part of the assessment. And then also lastly, what are the conditions that you may have to fulfill in order to get PR? Now, there is a small cost of 1,500 Australian dollars to have this assessment report generated for you. It will take 5 to 7 days, and we do have quite a lot of people working on this assessment report for you. Now, I'll explain to you the normal process and the fast track process. So as we said before, normally that you speak to a client engagement officer. They will help you to build your profile. You then provide us with your supporting documents. You'll pay your assessment fee. Then what happens is that comes over to us at Sydney. We generate the report. The report comes back to you. You then have a meeting with one of the strategic managers or a call with one of us in Sydney, and we'll explain the assessment report, and we decide on which state that we want to go to. Then from there, we do a business migration agreement. We can arrange a business visitor visa if you would like to come to Australia before you make any commitment. Now, at the moment, that may change a little bit due to COVID. We then do a final investment strategy. We lodge our expression of interest. Then we get our result. We lodge our nomination. We get our nomination result, and then we lodge our visa. Right. So we're actually looking at quite a long process. Now, due to some changes that Trishul mentioned earlier, which we're going to cover in a second, we've actually created a fast track process where we can do your assessment report and your expression of interest at the same time for you. And what we're trying to do here is allow people that want to come to Australia or lodge their visa before July 2021, where the new changes are going to come in. It's going to allow you to get your application in before the new changes take effect so that you can go through the current criteria, not the new criteria that is going to be come into place in July 2021. Also, on top of that, at the moment, we are doing a discount of 15% on the assessment report for you, but we can only do that for the first 20 applicants. Okay, so we can't do that for any more than that. So what I might do is I might pass over to Trishul that can cover these latest announcements.
Thank you, Nick. Thank you so much for taking us through that entire process. Gave us a lot of insights, over there as well. So one very critical announcement that has come through just 2 days ago. I would like to take you all through it. You would be one of the first to also know this as well, that the current visa subclass that Nick mentioned about 188A, 188B, and 132. This has been running through since almost since 2012 now. And the Australian government is looking at changing, some of these rules effective 2021 as well. There used to be around 9 visa subclasses. They're bringing it down now only to 4 as well. The subclass 132, which Nick took us through, will discontinue from 1st of July 2021. So those who are currently qualified to go into subclass, अभी जो qualify है 132A subclass में जाने के लिए, ये जुलाई 1st से निकलने वाला है ऑस्ट्रेलियन अथॉरिटी से. तो अगर कोई अभी क्वालिफाई हो रहा है इसमें, तो हम सजेस्ट करते हैं कि आप जनवरी के पहले और बिफोर जनवरी close this visa, because they have very limited seats available as well. All visa holders, sabhi visa holders, sare streams mein, they will be able to apply for PR after 3 years in the new regime. In the current regime right now, since 2012, you can apply for PR after 2 years. लेकिन जो आने वाला regime में है 2021 में, it is going to be 3 years. So it's going to be extended by 1 more year. So if you're looking at getting to Australia faster and getting your PR faster, you would want to think about it now. आपको अभी सोचना पड़ेगा कि मेरे को वहां पे जाना है, तो 1 साल बचाने के लिए we can still help you to get into the old regime as well. Requirements for business innovation visa and holders will be increased. So अपना total quota increase कर रहे हैं finally, which is a good sign as well for everybody. However, the business innovation visa, जो हम 188A के बारे में बात कर रहे थे, the Australian government is increasing their current qualification as well, जहाँ पे आपके assets will be 1.25 million, which is around 6.5 crore instead of 4 crore. So if any applicants are going to go into 2021 post 1st of July, they will have to show more assets as well. So again, this is a good time right now to put in your files. If you are looking at going through the old regime, you will save up on 1 year. You need to show lesser assets and lesser investments, annual turnover as well. Also, the annual turnover next year is going to increase, is from what we've heard a couple of days back. Instead of 2.5 crore in the old regime, it is going to go up to almost 4 crore, so close to double as well. So again, that's another point to consider when this gets formally announced. Shortly, it's already there on the site as well. And if there is any other changes, they will keep all of us informed as well. So this was something that we thought of sharing on this webinar, today as well. So before we get into any of the question answer sessions, I just wanted to do a quick, recap of whatever we've covered in this 40 odd, minutes right now. Just we recapped and we spoke about Phoenix and how we expertise in doing only business visas. हम लोग खाली business visas करते and only for Australia, खाली Australia के लिए करते, no other country as well. Like Nick also took us through some of the things what the Australian government is doing for business owners, mid-sized companies as well. They have invested $2.3 billion, currently right now in grants. And some of my friends who are there in Australia who are running their business, they mentioned that the money came straight into their bank accounts as well within 15 days. In fact, they've also given certain grants to students, some of the students of universities over there. In fact, they've even couriered vouchers to their house where they can go to the grocery shop and shop as well. So these are some of the key things that the government is doing for their people. So you are completely secured when it comes to your future. You're completely secured when you're thinking about your family, and you're completely secured when you're thinking about your business as well. We spoke a little bit about Phoenix, of our experience in Australia as well, and how our teams in Sydney are very familiar with the rules and regulation, and we get or try and get first-hand information and share it with you and our clients as well who are onboarded as well. We spoke about the IAR, which is the initial assessment report, which is of utmost importance and very critical. तो IAR समझो आपकी कुंडली है इसमें जो हमने also mention किया था. So IAR will actually tell you the initial assessment report, like I mentioned, is like a CT scan of your business financials as well. If I was a doctor and somebody walked into my clinic and I saw him, the person might look very fit. मैं बाहर से देख के बोल सकता हूँ कि बंदा फिट है, लेकिन जब तक मैं उनका स्कैन न करूं, जब तक मैं उनका सीटी स्कैन न करूं, मेरे को पता नहीं होगा कि ये बंदा डायबिटीज से सफर कर रहा है, हाई ब्लड प्रेशर से सफर कर रहा है. जो बाहर से जो दिख रहा है, the IAR is very similar to your Kundli or CT scan, where our teams actually get into it and we help you to and prepare it to ensure that the client is eligible. आप eligible हो सकते हो. आपके investment strategies आपके साथ discuss किया जाता है advance में. वो सारे जो सब क्लासेस क्वालिफिकेशन है 188A, 188D, 132A, हम सारे डॉक्यूमेंट्स प्रिपेयर करके आपके लिए. और जो फीस है IAR के लिए, द बेस्ट थिंग इज अगर आप क्वालिफाई नहीं होते हो, if you are not qualified, then we actually refund also that money to you, which is put to you in writing as well. My colleague Nick also covered the special offer that we are doing. And one of the reasons we are only taking the first 20 people who are coming on board with us on that special offer is we see that the rules are going to change also very fast. And we are encouraging people to put in their nominations and to go in, for their visas as soon as possible. Otherwise, they will get into the new regime and everything starts going up, from there as well. And we also have a very strong assessment process. We spoke about the slow track. We also spoke about the fast track, so we can also guide you and help you if you want to reach there a little bit faster, where we cut off, some of the stages, what we mentioned, and we can get into a fast track mode, as well. Our company, our people, we work on very ethical grounds. तो हम लोग जुगाड़ नहीं करते जैसे सब लोग या कोई लोग करते हैं यहाँ पे. हम लोग प्रोसेस फॉलो करते हैं ठीक से, स्टेप बाय स्टेप प्रोसेस. हम लोग काफी ट्रांसपेरेंसी फॉलो करते हैं लोगों के साथ as well. Everything is in black and white, from emails to contracts to everything is mentioned in black and white. आपका जो फीस भी है, जो आप आपके लिए चार्ज करते हैं, आपका जो फीस है वो इंस्टॉलमेंट्स में आते जाता है. जैसे आप स्टेजेस क्रॉस करते जाते हैं, as soon as you go into various stages of IAR to expression of interest to lodging your visa, हम आपको उसकी तरफ से आपको चार्ज भी करते हैं, so that you don't feel and you see what is the value that Phoenix is creating for you, which is much more, than the cost that we also offer to you. One of the key highlights is we also provide exploration trips. हम लोग exploration trips provide करते हैं. Once there is an invite that is sent by the authorities, आपको invite आता है Australian government कि please come and visit our country and see for yourself. The best or one of our biggest USPs here that we come personally to the airport to pick you up. We empathize and know that if you're coming for the first time to Australia, या आप ऑस्ट्रेलिया पहले बार आ रहे हो, नया country, नया people as well, it takes some time to get used to it. However, unlike most of the other companies, we have a personalized service. We come and receive you from the airport. My personal takes you around in Australia. We cover everything where you can see from the future of your business to your social engagements, to where your kids will study, what infrastructure is there in the city. And we also take you personally to meet the migration agent, the migration office personals as well. And we also personally invite you to our Sydney office, where we sit across the table and create that entire business plan for you. Because till date or till today, we've got a zero rejection from all the cases that have gone through Phoenix. So we also take a lot of care and follow a lot of process to make sure that you get there as well. So getting on to the questions right now, I'm just going to go on. So some of your questions, which are a little bit technical from what I had also seen while Nick was talking, Nishant, uh, and some of the people who have sent in their questions. The technical questions, I think we will reach out to you in regards to certain questions you've asked specific to your business or your turnover as well. My teams will personally reach out to you in the course of next week to answer some of your questions. Some of the questions that I also received, and saw on a personal chat that also came to me, where a few of you were asking questions कि मैं ऑस्ट्रेलिया में जाके क्या कर सकता हूँ, or what can I do when I head to Australia as well. So this is a very common question, and it's a very interesting question that usually comes up most of the time. uh, I'm happy to give you certain tips right now. Usually, our teams charge per hour basis for a consulting fee to give these tips. But today, because you all have taken that time out and come for this webinar, I'm so happy, and I'm personally going to give you some tips. So हम लोग क्या suggest करते हैं कि what business can I start in Australia? We suggest you to start something which is very similar to your business. हम suggest करते हैं कि आप similar business start कीजिए. जो आप इंडिया में कर रहे हो, आप वही business ऑस्ट्रेलिया में भी कीजिए. हम लोग सजेस्ट करते हैं कि आप जो बिजनेस इंडिया में कर रहे हैं, वही बिजनेस आप कंटिन्यू कीजिए. आप उसको बंद मत कीजिए. डोंट स्टॉप योर बिजनेस इन इंडिया. Continue your business. See how you can semi-automate it as well, so that you have your business running in Australia and you have your business running in India as well. So we always suggest to you not to stop your business while you are in India, and always start a very similar business as well. So if you are in real estate, for example, and if you're moving to Australia, our teams would actually come to you looking at your strengths and suggest that you start something around real estate, because that will help you scale it up even much faster as well. We also suggest that you start a business that complements your business. तो आप अगर कुछ रियल एस्टेट के नॉलेज से आ रहे हो, आपका रियल एस्टेट का बिजनेस है, तो आप अगर कोई दूसरा बिजनेस देख रहे हो वहां पे ऑस्ट्रेलिया में, तो हम सजेस्ट करते हैं कि आप कोई बिजनेस स्टार्ट कीजिए जो आपके बिजनेस को कॉम्प्लीमेंट हो सकता है वहां पे. So we always suggest that you start a business that complements your business as well. Uh, your business also needs to be compliant with the Department of Immigration in Australia. तो ऑस्ट्रेलिया के जो सारे स्टेट्स है, उनके क्वालिफिकेशंस रहते हैं, उनके रिक्वायरमेंट्स रहते हैं सर्टेन बिजनेसेस की. तो हम लोग यूजली, हमारा टीम जो सिडनी में बैठा है, दे एक्चुअली सजेस्ट टू यू what business you can start and what is the top businesses you can start in that state as well. So we get into that detailing as well. हम लोग encourage नहीं करते, or we don't encourage that you start a franchise business. I think it's not allowed as well. Plus, we don't suggest that you start that as well. And our team will meet you in Sydney whenever you reach there and give you more and more, information about this as well. If there's anything specific or any other specific question that you feel we have not addressed. Happy to look at those questions as well. Nishant, we will get back to you. What if your spouse can't clear medical? So Mandeep, again, personal question. Our team will reach out to you 100% with this answer as well in the span of the next coming days as well. Anurag, is there any other question you see right now?
Hi, Trishal. No, so most of the questions are answered in the our
Great.
presentation.
Great.
And yes, so these are the some personal questions which we can address one-on-one with the clients.
Great. So I thank you everyone for attending this webinar today. Please do look out and we will reach out to you for the next webinar that's coming up in January, that we'll be covering up more details about certain specifications on moving to Australia. And again, we will be giving you certain tips, as well on what we suggest you to do as well. Thanks, Nick, for your help and assistance. And I know right now in Australia, it's past 12 midnight, and you've been awake.
It is.
For all of us.
It's about 1 a.m. here, but we are used to it because we do work on Indian time rather than Australian time here.
Great.
Apologies for the video not working before, but that's fine. And lastly, myself and Kartikeya and anyone here in the Sydney office, is available. So feel free to reach out to us through the person that you're dealing with in India, if you do need any assistance or have any questions that we may be able to help you with.
Yes, thank you so much. Thank you so much, everyone, for joining in. And we will personally reach out to you in the course of next week. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.